Hello lovely people, it's Caitlin, and today I am doing 25 bookish facts about me, just so you all can get to know me a little better. So number one is I use Pokemon cards as bookmarks, and I will bring out a few examples. There's a fire one, here's a grass one, here's a psychic energy card, and then here's a psychic card. So those are the books that I'm currently reading, and I like to use Pokemon cards as my bookmarks because my house has an abundant amount of them. There's literally like a gigantic bag with Pokemon cards in it, and I always use the energy cards because I'm afraid that if I use ones with Pokemon on it, then I'll lose them. And then for some reason, like 20 years from now, my brothers will get really mad at me. Number two is that I wasn't that big of a reader when I was a little kid. However, in 4th grade, I started reading the Magic Treehouse books, and because I just thought that they were really fun, and I liked the little illustrations, and they were just like a nice little chapter books, like not a whole bunch of reading. We were in the library, and my classmates started laughing at me for reading them because it's like 1st grade level, and I was just so embarrassed, and I felt so sad that I just basically quit reading entirely until 7th grade. Number 3 sort of goes along with number 2. I discovered my love for reading in 7th grade while reading Harry Potter because we were required to read and I had no idea what to do, so my older brother said, "Hey, Caitlin, you should read Harry Potter," and I did, and I am in love with it ever since, and that has what spurred my love for reading. Number 4 is I know some people really like to read poetry, but I don't because I classify poetry as something that you have to analyze and be analytical, and my brain doesn't like doing that if it doesn't have to because I already do enough of that at school. So I just don't read poetry willingly. If I have spare time to read something, it will be something other than poetry. Number 5 is I rarely read nonfiction books. I can't really tell you how many nonfiction books I've read. I've read Yes Please by Amy Poehler. I think that's a nonfiction book. Yeah, I can't really come up with any on the top of my head. Number 6 is my most hated book as of now is A World Without Princes, The School for Good and Evil, Book 2. This was such a terrible book. I have a Booksamino. I don't know if you guys have that app, but I have a Booksamino, and when I finished that book, I ranted about the ending because the ending was so bad. The last 40 pages was so terrible, and then once you read that last 40 pages, then you figure out that the entire book was terrible. I really enjoyed the first book, but then the second book is really bad. Number 7 is my favorite series is Harry Potter, and if you can't tell, my shirt says I solemnly swear that I am up to no good, and I really love this shirt. I have 2 other Harry Potter shirts that I've gotten recently. I have little buttons with Harry Potter, and I have little dolls that my friend gave me, and it's just really cute, and I'm obsessed with Harry Potter. Speaking of Harry Potter, number 8 is I haven't watched any of the movies. Actually, that might be a lie because I think I watched the 6th movie in theaters with my family, but I was like 8 or 9 or something like that. The only reason why I know that I watched it in the movie theater is that my older brother had to close my eyes when all the dead people come at Harry and Dumbledore on the little island or whatever when they're getting the Horcrux. So he's all like, "Don't look, Caitlin," and he covered my eyes. And it's pretty funny looking back on it. I've tried watching the first one recently, and I got halfway through, and then I had to go to bed, and I never watched the rest of the second half, which I really need to watch those movies because I feel really bad for not watching them. Number 9 is I do not like big books. The bigger the book is, the less likely I am to either read it or enjoy my reading experience, because when a book is big, I am constantly worried about the page length. Like a little part of my brain is thinking, look at how many pages you have left. There are so many pages you have left. So I rarely read long books. Normally I try and stick to 400 pages and down. Right now I'm reading City of Bones, which is my first Cassandra Clare book, and it has like 475 pages or whatever, and just that, I'm all like, should I really read this book? Like, is it really worth it? Number 10 is I rarely read books in one sitting. I think I did it for the Selection and the Elites. I ended up staying up really late one night in like 8th grade or something because it was so addicting. My Brother's Shadow by Tom Avery, I think I read that in one sitting, but it's like super tiny. It's like super tiny. I think it's like 140 pages and the font is super big also. But it's a really good book. Number 11 is I really like reviewing books because you get to just talk about the book, whether you like it, whether you didn't like it. I just think reviewing books are a lot of fun because you get to talk about books, and also you can choose whether you want it to be spoiler free or just like a book talk or both. Like, it's really fun. However, like, the one pain about it is editing them because it takes forever to edit. Number 12 is audiobooks are amazing. I discovered them middle of last year, I think, and I have loved them ever since. I get my audiobooks from Overdrive. So I love it because you can't get fined for late fees since it'll just take it away as soon as it's due. But yeah, I love audiobooks. I think I'm going to make a video sometime soon about audiobooks that are really good. On that same note of audiobooks, number 13 is I like girl narrators better than male narrators. This is because a lot of the times that I've tried listening to audiobooks with a male narrator, their voice is just really low and I can't understand them, while girls, they have higher voices, of course, so it's easier to listen to them and pay attention. There are a couple of audiobooks that I've listened to with male narrators that don't have a super deep voice, but normally I prefer girls because girls make better guy voices than guys making girl voices that I have experience with in audiobooks. Number 14 is that I've been using Goodreads since sometime in 2014. I love it. I don't really write reviews on it. I'm really bad at that, but I do always keep track of my reading progress on there. I know that they don't have the 0.5 star rating system, so that's one thing that I wish they could fix. But they do have rereading now, which is really cool, and I have yet to reread a book since they've come out with that setting. But yeah. Number 15 is I judge books by their covers all the time. If a book has an ugly cover, I will almost never pick up the book to read the summary, while if a book has a really pretty cover, then I am more likely to look at the book, read the inside flap, then look at Goodreads, read the reviews, and if it's good, then I will either get it from the library or buy it. And yeah, beautiful books normally have beautiful stories. Sometimes they don't. But 16 is I stink at TBRs, but I still love to make them because it just seems like at the beginning of the month I plan out what I feel like reading that month, and then it might end up changing like in a week or so. But I still like sort of having a outline of what I'm in the mood for and what I think I'm going to read that month. Piggybacking off of the previous one, number 17 is I am definitely a mood reader. Even if I do make TBRs, like I said, probably a week after that I will be in the mood for a different book. Even if I'm reading one book and I am getting either bored with it or like not feeling like reading it anymore, then I will start another book. Sort of piggybacking off of that one, number 18 is I like to read multiple books at one time. Like I showed you earlier, I have 4 books presently that have bookmarks in them, and a couple of them I haven't read in a really long time, like probably a week or so I haven't picked them up. They're sitting there waiting to be read. They're all like, Caitlin, read me, and I'm just looking at it saying, no, I'm not in the mood for you. And then I pick up another book, which in some ways is really bad. But, I mean, like, what can you do? Number 19 is I am pretty good at DNFing books, but sometimes if I'm reading a bad book, I just feel like I need to finish reading it. Like, I mentioned in my review maybe how I was about to DNF the Heartthrobs of Wing Jones, but I decided to keep on reading it because I was interested in the ending. But sometimes I just feel the need to finish a bad book, while other times I just DNF books, like the Three Dark Crowns I've DNF'd, Stalking Jack the Ripper I've DNF'd, not because I don't like them, but just because they've gotten boring. You know what I mean? Number 20 is that I have seen very few book to adaptation movies. I have seen The Maze Runner, I think, but I wasn't paying attention to that in the movie theater. Go Caitlin. Apparently you like not paying attention in movies. But number 21 is I only buy books if I think I'm going to love it. If I think it's going to be okay or like meh, then I'll get it from the library. But if I think I'll really enjoy it, then I'll buy it. And then if I didn't enjoy it, then normally I'm pretty good at going to half-price books and selling it to them, which I mean I won't get nearly as much money as I spent, but I will get some money back and then I'll buy some more books. So it's a cycle. Number 22 is I am a really slow reader. It takes me forever to even read like a 350-page book. My friend, she can read a 300-page book in 3 hours. So I'll take probably like double that amount, 6 hours. I'm just a really slow reader, but I don't really like reading fast because I go through it too quickly and I won't retain a lot of the information. So I actually like reading it slowly because then I get to take in all the information that's on the page. Number 23 is I love ranting to my friends about books that I hate. It is so much fun. And also gush to them about books that I love also. I'm all like, hey, you should read this book. Or I'm all like, hey, can I tell you how bad this book was? And even if they're like not super into it, I just like having a physical person to talk to. Number 24 is the longest book I've ever read was Winter by Marissa Meyer. This book I listened to on audiobook actually, so I mean, it's still the longest book. It's like 800 something pages, so actually now that I'm thinking about it, Order of the Phoenix might be longer than Winter, but I'm counting Winter as longer because Order of the Phoenix has big fonts. It's also almost 24 hours if you listen to it on audiobook, which I did. Number 25 is I am also obsessed with the Grishaverse in addition to Harry Potter because I love the Shadow and Bone trilogy along with the Six of Crows duology. I love all of the characters, and the only issue I had was the ending of Ruin and Rising, but other than that, I love everything. And Six of Crows, that duology, you can see her improvement so much in her writing and also her character development and everything, and it's just brilliant. Okay guys, so that was my 25 bookish facts about me. It was actually quite hard coming up with these facts. I didn't know that it would have been this hard, but apparently it is. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and press subscribe if you want to be notified for when I post new videos. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!